All right, today we're going to learn about 45, 45, 90 special right triangles. What you really have to know about this is that it follows a pattern. So there are two legs to each of these triangles and then one hypotenuse, and each leg has its own formula. Each leg represents x, and the hypotenuse for the 45, 45, 90 triangle is x root 2. So all of these x's are the same value. So the legs of the 45, 45, 90 triangle are always congruent. So the leg is x, this leg is x, this leg is root 2. So just to practice with 45, 45, 90, we'll look at this example right here. The y represents the hypotenuse, the x represents a leg, and the 8 represents a leg. And since it's a 45, 45, 90, the x and the 8 are the exact same congruent leg measurement. So x here is 8. Now, if you remember back from up here, to find the hypotenuse, you would have to multiply the value that you got for x, or the value of a leg, times root 2. So that's why y represents 8 root 2. For this particular problem, we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle where one leg is 25, one leg is y. But remember, they're congruent, so they're both 25. And the hypotenuse, here's the formula, is x root 2. Since we already know that technically the leg here is, well, they changed the variable on us. So technically y is the leg and 25 is the leg. So y is 25 as well. So technically the formula for the hypotenuse here is y root 2, but it doesn't really matter. So this would be 25 root 2 for the length of the hypotenuse. And lastly, this is probably the most difficult out of all of them because you're given a hypotenuse, but you're not given any of the leg markers. You already know that the hypotenuse has the formula of x root 2. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to say that, right, x root 2 equals 19. And then you divide each side by root 2, so you get 19 divided by root 2. But we can't have a square root in the denominator. So to get from this step to this step, you actually have to multiply. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. Multiply by the square root of 2 over square root of 2. That's called rationalizing the denominator. And once you get that, you end up with 19 root 2 over 2, which happens to be the value of x and y because in a 45, 45, 90 triangle, both of these legs are congruent.